3, 2, 1.
You ready?
Listening to the Real Pineapple Podcast Network. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. This is the Real Pineapple, and this is your humble host, Hunter, here. So, I have a review for the first 2 episodes of Miss Marvel. So, full disclaimer, I am going to dance around major plot points like there's no tomorrow, because I only got the first 2 episodes. But I do not want to really speculate on where I think it's going, because I have read I've read the main Miss Marvel run, her reboot back in, what was that, that would have been 2012, I believe, with, that Sarah Pichelli and, G. Willow Wilson worked on. Great stuff if you've not read it yet. But I'm going to go ahead and kind of dance around stuff, so I'm going to be very vague. So if you feel like, Hunter, why aren't you going into more? That's why. So, long story short, we get the premiere of Miss Marvel, of course, Kamala Khan, finally, in the MCU, who's played by Iman Vellani. And something that immediately made me go, I think this girl's got this, is if you saw the excitement, and I remember Marvel shared this, I want to say maybe last year, What Is Time Anymore? But I remember Marvel shared the reaction video of her being told by Kevin Feige and the rest of the Marvel higher-ups that she was going to be Kamala Khan. And the excitement that she had and the reaction she had was such a Kamala Khan reaction. It felt so genuine that I went, okay, yeah, I think this girl's got this. And that is the biggest compliment I can pay the show. It felt like the showrunner, who is Bisha K. Ali, who actually is a writer on Sex Education, and they were a writer on Loki. So congratulations for being able to go ahead and make this jump. But she really just captured the spirit of Kamala Khan in a way from jump. Really, from the opening 10 minutes, I went, okay, she's got this. So, oh god, what can I talk about? The visual style. It felt like someone went, let's take Spider-Man Homecoming, The Babysitter's Club, and Scott Pilgrim and put it all in a blender and go ahead and add some cultural representation. This is definitely skewing more the YA demographic, which, by the way, and I know some people are going to hear that and go, oh, it's a kid's show, haha. It's not a bad thing. It reminded me, and I mean this again as a compliment, it reminded me a lot of Netflix's The Babysitter's Club, which got canceled, which sucks, by the way, because y'all didn't appreciate The Babysitter's Club when it was on Netflix. That's going to be one of those things I think, especially girls are going to discover and go, wow, I should have been watching this when this was, when this was on. It's a great show. Season 1 or season 1 review is up on the channel, but it's something I watched with my partner and went, oh my god, someone actually gave a shit about making a really good, not even a good show, a great show for teenage girls to watch, which, that's nice. It's nice to actually not talk down to teenage girls and actually talk about issues they're dealing with. And that's something about this show that it does not hide away from whatsoever. Now, I will say I've read some complaints about the show in regards to how it's handling representation from the aspect of the big conflict so far is, Kamala being a Pakistani teenager and dealing with the overbearing parents. It's very turning red in that aspect. And I have been reading from some people that they feel like that's not enough. I would just simply say this. As someone who loves Falcon and the Winter Soldier so much, Falcon and the Winter Soldier was willing to go there. I mean, we talk about, it talks about the Tuskegee experiments. It talks about how, I'm a black man wearing the stars and stripes. What don't I understand? I know that there will always be people who hate me when I pick up the shield. And while we haven't gotten there with Kamala Khan, I do feel like we're getting there because she's a high school kid. And one of the first things they show when she gets into school is one of her teachers, not her teachers, but I think it's like the gym teacher, calls her, what was it, Kayla, I think? Like, not even remotely close to Kamala, but he doesn't give a fuck enough about her to even learn her fucking name. And of course, Kamala has the school preppy girl that she's dealing with. That's the thing about this show that really is hitting with me, is that it feels like it is a high school show in the best way. Kamala sees a boy that she starts to go ahead and starts to crush on, and she gets the hearts above her head, and thinks about their life together, as you do in high school, because everything is everything's the end of the world when you're in high school. But it's one of those things where I go, yeah, this is how a teenage girl should be acting. It's how a teenager should be acting. High school is terrible. Like, by the way, for anyone that told you high school is fun, it's really not. There's a lot of shit that happens in high school, and you're hormonal and growing, and you don't know what the hell's going on. High school's a lot, and I appreciate that in the first couple episodes, it does sincerely feel like Kamala is just dealing with so much stuff. She's dealing with the stuff at home. Her principal, a few minutes in the episode, basically gives her an assignment to go, who are you? Who do you think you are, Kamala? But it's a show that I really do think that high schoolers, especially, I would say, high school. I think a middle school girl would watch this and completely go, yeah, I feel what she's going through right now. The dynamic with her and her mom is really interesting because they do a change to her origin as far as how she gets her powers. And I understand that it may not work for some people because it's not the Inhuman route, but to be quite frank, I just don't think Marvel wants to deal with Inhumans. I know they just had Black Bolt in Multiverse Madness, but at this point, I think if they even introduce the Inhumans on into the MCU, I would not be surprised if they call them Celestials and just kind of keep the Inhumans name because branding. Because I just don't think they want to go through the whole Terrigen Mist bullshit. I think they'd rather just say you're either Celestial or you have a gene, perhaps a mutant gene. And the show admittedly does kind of hint that might be the route they're going, because the bracelet, while it's very Green Lantern ring-esque, what I do appreciate about the bracelet that she ends up wearing is that based on things, it feels like this isn't the first time someone's worn the bracelet. And that's about all I'll say, again, without getting too much into the plot of it all, because again, I am trying to be vague. Another thing that is really working for me is the humor. And actually there is one plot point I do want to bring up. The show does establish that we know that Black Widow and Tony were the ones who really sacrificed themselves to save the world from putting the time stones back and all, for putting the Infinity Stones back. They established that that's pretty much world knowledge in a really clever way that I went, all right, I really like that you're addressing that, because, we know that the blip is a thing that is widely acknowledged, but I was really curious if they're going to acknowledge, the actual consequences of the blip and how, we're back to, quote, normal, unquote. And it feels like they actually are going to start addressing that more in the properties, so I'm actually very curious how they're going to address that. But there's one thing specifically that they touch on that front, and I really appreciate that they do. So when you see it, you'll kind of go, oh, this is what Hunter's talking about. And since I'm talking about the changes to our origin, I might as well get this out of the way now. So everyone had a panic attack when they were like, we're changing our power set. It's going to be kind of more like light. And people were like, oh my God, they're ruining Kamala. And da-da-da-da. Here's the thing. It's like, how do I put this? The spirit of her big powers are definitely there. I mean, she hasn't gone, giant and big yet, but the way that she's able to go ahead and change the size of her hands and everything, with that cosmic light, it looks less body horror-ish. And it gives it kind of a, almost like a, God, how do I even say it? Almost like an artistry to it that I appreciate. It looks really cool in live action. And again, I know that's going to be a big point of contention with some people, and they just will not fucking like it. I really dig it because I just don't think that you can make the embiggen stuff look good without some sort of kind of filter on it in that way. And in the way it does come across in live action, even when she's just looking at her hands, it looks really cool. So it's something that is, I think it's a very nice enhancement for her power base, but it still maintains the spirit of her power base. So it works for me. I know it won't work for some people, but you know, whatever, you're wrong. God, what else do I want to talk about real quick? I really like her best friend. I like their dynamic. Or she has two best friends, one guy, one girl. I'm blanking on her. I think Brandon is the guy's name. Brandon is cool. I'm curious where they're going to kind of keep going with him, and I'll leave it at that. Her friend Nakia is badass. I adore Nakia. Nakia is, you know, that straight to the point friend that you need, but someone who's going to go ahead, that straight shooting friend, but someone who's going to go ahead and lift you up and, you know, be fun around you. She's awesome, and she has her own subplot that I'm curious where it's going to go. I hope nothing but the best for her because she rules. My biggest, and it's not even a complaint because we're only 2 out of 6 episodes in, there's a post-credit, not a mid-credit. Well, mid-credit. There's a mid-credit scene at the end of episode 1. I don't know who the villain's going to be in this. I'm intrigued on that front, and I have an idea, but again, I don't want to get into that. But I'm intrigued where they're going to go with the villain, is what I'll say. But for what I've seen so far, I'm really digging this. I'm excited for people to go ahead and discover Kamala Khan, because for me, and I can celebrate this now because it's news. What's his name? Joe Quesada went ahead and left Marvel today, officially, after 22 years. And you know what? Good. Fucking good. Because off of one more day alone, you don't deserve to be hanging out in Marvel anymore. So I'm stoked that he is gone. But one thing I will say is that Kamala Khan has been one of the best characters Marvel has written in the last decade. Her friendship with Miles Morales is one of my favorite things in comics. I just love her, Kamala, as a character, and I'm really excited that she's getting her live action shine. She's an amazing character, and I cannot wait to see how this show wraps up, and can't wait to see her in the Marvels. I'm so happy that we're getting more Kamala Khan. And Iman Vellani, I will end on this hot take. By the time it's all said and done, and you know how much I love the character and about the reference, he might be a better Kamala Khan than Tom Holland is a Peter Parker. I'm gonna leave it at that. So, everyone, this won't be dropping until June 8th. So, tell me your favorite Kamala Khan moment in the comics if you're a fan of hers. Also, I will say, even though I know the game has definitely had its controversy, I love her arc on Marvel's Avengers, that game. The single-player campaign with Kamala, fucking rules. Absolutely love it. But tell me your favorite Kamala Khan memory, or tell me what you're excited about learning about the character. I'm curious what people have to say about her, but let us know in the comments. You can go ahead and follow both our pages on Facebook at The Real Pineapple and Real Pineapple Games. That's our EEL Pineapple. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Leave us a rating. Let us know what you think of the show. You can find us on SoundCloud, Apple and Google Podcasts, Podbean, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Music, TuneUp, and now on a Samsung podcast at The Real Pineapple. Don't forget to follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/jhunterrealpineapple. Gonna be hopping on there this summer and playing some games, talking some movies. I will go ahead and keep y'all updated on our socials on when that's going to be happening. And you can find me on Letterboxd at Black Shazam and on TikTok at Black Shazam775. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. We'll have reviews up for Lightyear, as well as Hustle, and some other stuff dropping down the pipeline here, including a review of Physical Season 1, because Season 2 will be coming out this month. I'm really excited to get back in that world. Love me some Rose Byrne. But everyone, thank you so much for listening. Stay safe out there. Wear a mask. Get your booster if you haven't gotten it yet. Take care of each other. And honestly, tell those close to you that you love them. We all need to We all need to hear that more. But stay safe out there, everyone. Thanks again for listening, and we'll talk to you soon.